Hey guys! If you are applying to colleges and you're interested in New York University, welcome, because today, Liane, who's working for us this summer, is going to share with you how she got into NYU. Before we get going, I just want to remind everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All you have to do is click subscribe and go to our website, SupertutorTV.com/subscribe, and subscribe to our mailing list, because at our mailing list, you can sign up to find out about everything that's going on with SupertutorTV, any new products we might be releasing. And without further ado, I'll let Liane take things over.
To start, I'm a rising junior at NYU and I'm studying psychology with a double minor in public health and biology. Let's go back to high school. I went to Harvard-Westlake School, which is, according to niche.com, ranked #1 private high school in California and ranked #4 private high school in the US. My weighted GPA was a 3.97. I took 7 AP courses in total. As a note though, I took most of these during my senior year, so the scores weren't necessarily sent out until after I applied. One key thing I learned is to know the context of your high school standing and how that potentially comes into play when colleges look at your grades. Mine was a particularly rigorous school, and so I worked really hard not just to be a competitive applicant, but also just to keep up with the regular coursework. So NYU takes one of the following, either the SAT, ACT, 3 subject tests, 3 AP scores, or the IB. And I submitted my SAT. My SAT was a 2280, and I got a 730 in reading, a 750 in math, and an 800 in writing. I actually self-studied a lot of it, but I did enroll in a few classes. For the books, what I found is that if you just go through all of the material, even if it's so many books, it's gonna be way more helpful in the long run, because you'll see the different ways that they can ask the questions, and then it trains your brain so that your brain can approach it in different ways too. And I think this just takes off the worry of like, what if I see this question again but I don't recognize it? And so I think it's very important to just go through as many materials as possible. I had kind of main activities that I kept consistently throughout high school. And so for 4 years I was a member of the choir. I was also a junior varsity swimmer and team manager senior year. I was an admissions student ambassador, and I was also the co-founder and the co-president of the Filipino club at the school. Outside of school, I also sang in a youth choir and a jazz choir, and I would like send in poems for different contests, and one of them ended up being published, and so yeah, sometimes I did that too. As for volunteering though, I was a teaching assistant for a summer enrichment program for 3 years. I participated in a Rustic Pathways volunteer program in Costa Rica, and then I also just helped out my local art center and with Operation Gratitude. I think particularly with NYU, they pride themselves with having a lot of global connections and having very worldly students, and so I tried to play to that as much as I could. And I just found that my activities actually fit quite well with how NYU views itself and what their students are like. And so if you can, try to see what fits in the activities that you include with the school that you're looking at. So for my common application essay, I wrote about my background or a story that's central to my identity. My family and I moved to the US 9 years ago now, and I knew that I wanted to talk about this topic. The only thing is, some of these things just sound kind of common at this point, and you know that the admissions committee has heard them 100 times over, even 1,000. And so I thought that maybe what would make for a more compelling essay is if I put together different instances in which I had to face a challenge or was uncomfortable about something, so that I could show certain qualities in my character that I was really proud of as a result. And so there were different instances, like when I had to present a book report in my English as a second language class in 6th grade, or when I had to perform in front of my peers at the student coffee house, or when I sang with a jazz choir at the Hollywood Bowl, or even when I was 3 years old, I had a tropical dengue fever, and so that was another thing that I experienced. So through this essay, I wanted to demonstrate how I've adapted to new situations and how I always try to make the most of what's available to me. And then I've also learned not to let my challenges define me, instead learn from how I've responded to them and how those actually shape who I am fundamentally as a person. And so I think what's important is that if in your essay you can show how these certain things may highlight certain parts of your character, I think that would be a really good addition. And then as for the NYU writing supplement, essentially in so many words it says why NYU. So I decided to write about the College of Arts and Science, which I am in right now, and I specifically focused on the core curriculum, which basically establishes a foundation of both the humanities and the sciences so that students can have a wider perspective of the world. And most importantly, in my writing supplement, I wanted to emphasize just how excited I was to be able to be part of all of that. I did my research on NYU clubs and activities that they offer, and I picked out specific ones that I thought matched what I had in the activities list and also matched what I wanted to do in the future. And I wanted to show them just how much I wanted to get in by doing that. And I think doing this kind of research is important because it shows not only your enthusiasm, but kind of this active involvement where you're going to pursue what you set your mind to. And I thought this was very important to show as well. And so as a final note, like I said earlier, NYU truly is, quote, in and of the city. And so in my application, I wanted to show how I can contribute to this concept. I think it's really important that as a research university, they look for people who are curious and just inquisitive, and I wanted to show exactly how I was like that as well and how much I identify with that too. Bottom line, you have to show how well you fit into the fabric of the school, and in whatever way that is, make sure that you show how much you'll fit in and how you'll contribute to their mission statement or to their student body further. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my story of how I got into NYU. I realize that this whole process is unique to each student, but if you do have any questions about NYU or the college experience, make sure to leave them down below. And be sure to check out our other test prep materials, videos, and tips and tricks on SupertutorTV.com. Thanks!